To learn means to be in a state of play, to live a life of curiosity, a life of inspiring one another, a life of connecting with each other, and a life of real conversations. Welcome to Natural Learning. Alright, games. Well, today is a perfect day to be talking about games, particularly indoor games, as you might hear the sound of rain on the roof. But yeah, it's a very rainy day today here, stuck inside in this lockdown. But yeah, games are a lot of fun and they're just highly enjoyable, and for children in particular, they are particularly enjoyable. But I want to ask the question, why is that? What are they getting out of it? What are children getting out of it? Why are games so important? And why should we both be initiating and joining in the games with our children? Also in this video, I'm also going to share a bit of a dice game with you that might be easy enough for you to pick up, and just a little bit of something different that I thought I'd add on to the end of this video for a bit of fun. So in my last video, I talked about video games in particular, but here I want to talk about games in general terms. So what are games essentially? Games are a form of simulation. As humans, we are strongly drawn to simulations, and they play a really important role within our lives, as they allow us to work out likely cause and effect scenarios without facing the dire consequences that sometimes occur in real life. And we surround ourselves in a wide variety of simulations. I mean, even things such as novels are a form of simulation where we're able to see the possible consequences of being in a certain scenario as we trace the journey of characters through a book. Films and TV dramas also function in the same way, where we follow characters through a storyline, and those storylines are basically simulated in a way to help us decide what we might be doing in those scenarios as well, and help us think about the consequences of certain actions. Video games are a more powerful simulation because the player has actually the control in that scenarios, and they have a great control over a wide variety of parameters that they use to explore cause and effect scenarios within a game. I particularly like card and board games, and so we'll talk a little bit more about that. In fact, I have quite the stash. So there we go, there's a box of a few of my games there, and some of my board games. I do have more as well, and they're a lot of fun, and yeah, I always enjoy playing them with people. But yeah, the thing is that these simulations are not just found in the world around us, they're also within our own heads. And we are constantly using our imaginations and running simulations along the lines of, if I did this, then that might happen, or if I did that, then that might happen. So simulations are really important because observing these simulated scenarios allows us to calibrate what our own reactions will be in real life scenarios. The simulations that we then run in our own heads allow us to predict what the possible outcomes may be of a certain action. So simulations are particularly important to children as they are able to simulate things that they see adults doing without necessarily being exposed to the same level of risk. So for example, many board games have some sort of currency, like for instance Monopoly. Children are able to, in the simulation of the board game, exchange and deal with money in a playful and exploratory way that does not lead them to real-world bankruptcy. Or take, for example, the fact that many games require you to strategize, to work out probabilities and choose the best possible option. Again, to be able to play at making choices without necessarily facing massive life-changing consequences is important for us human beings. So yeah, get out some games and play some of these games because they are a fantastic pathway to natural learning. Again, it might be video games, but maybe also try some card games or some dice games or some board games. So the game that I'm going to show you today is another dice game, In fact, I call it the dice game. So what you'll need is a collection of dice. What you'll need is about 4 to 6 dice per person. So if you need to, you can scavenge them from other games you might have lying about, or you can make them. Might be also another wee cool activity. Or you can generally buy a pack pretty cheaply. Hopefully though you've got a shop open that actually sells them. So yeah, let's check out how to play the dice game. Alrighty, so with the dice game, so here at the moment I've got it set up that there's a person with some white dice, so 6 white dice, and this person's got 6 green dice and 6 red dice. But just for showing this, I'm just going to play it with less dice, so with 2 each just to start, just so we can see how this works. So what everybody does is they roll their die and they cover them up when they're rolling them so nobody else can see. So a lot of people hides their dice. They can look at them but nobody else can. So obviously I'm just going to show you in this. So say white starts. So they've got a 4 and a 5 there, and so they say, well, I think I've got 1 4 here, and maybe there's another 4 somewhere in the game. So they'll say 2 4s. There's at least 2 4s in the game. And so it goes on to the green person, and they've also got a 4. And so they think, 2 4s in the game. Well, maybe white has a 4, and I've got a 4, so there probably is 2 4s in the game. So if you think the person is right, then it means you need to bid higher. In other words, you need to come up with something bigger. So this person in green might say, well, I've got a 6. Maybe there's another 6 in the game as well. So they're going to say 2 6s. Then it goes on to the red person's turn. And they look at their 2 die and they think 2 6s. Well, I don't have any 6s. Maybe there's 2 6s, but I don't think so. And so they say, I don't think so. And then everybody reveals their die. And then we see how many 6s there are. So green has a 6. Are there any other 6? No. So there aren't 2 6s on the table. So that means that green loses a die. So now they're only down to 1 die. Then everybody rolls again, remembering to cover up. And then green's going to start, and maybe they want to really play it safe at this point. So they're going to say 1 4. So now it's red's turn. And so they look at their 2 dice and they might think, I've got 1 1 and 1 2. So my numbers are lower than the 4. So I can't say 1 1 or 1 2 because a 1 and a 2 is lower than a 4. So it needs to be something higher. So the person could say 1 5 or 1 6. But then they could also say 2 1s or 2 2s or 2 3s, 2 4s, 2 5s, 2 6s, or even 3 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s, 3 4s, 3 5s, 3 6s. What they can't do is say something lower. So they're going to say 2 2s. Okay? And then it goes to white. And they look at their 2 dice and they think, 2 2s. Well, I've got a 2. But I reckon that red is just bluffing that they've got a 2. So they go, no, I think you're wrong. There's not 2 2s in the game. So everybody reveals again their die, and then we see that there are in fact 2 2s, at least 2 2s in the game. And so in this case, because white was wrong, they lose one of their dice. And so the game keeps on going until everybody has lost their dice, except for one person, who is the winner. And of course, as I said before, it's best to start with 4, 5, or 6 die. And you can play this really with as many people as you want, so you can get a whole group of people together. And yeah, it's a really fun game. And just to say, this is a game about probability and things like that. But you don't need to be like a super maths whiz or whatever. You can work out the exact probabilities. So especially if there's 3 players with 6 dice each, yeah, you can easily work out what the probability is. For instance, if everybody throws a die, there's going to be on probability 3 1s and 3 2s and so on. But you don't really need to even know that. What it is a game to start being intuitive about the probabilities. It's not about being exact necessarily. So, for instance, if we started again with what we had, and someone said, 7 6s, well, that's an impossibility. The maximum you could have is 6 6s, but even that's not very likely. And so it's just about working out what are the most probable things that are going to happen. And yeah, it's a great opportunity for kids to just become really intuitive about probabilities. And so yeah, this is a nice wee game, and I hope that you enjoy. So if you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed the game, then give this video a like, and also just share the video as well. If again you enjoyed it and you want to share it around, that'd be great. Also, again, if you want to know more about natural learning and discuss the topic more with me in a one-on-one setting, I'm happy to give you a call. And so just either message me through Facebook or visit my website frankeducation.nz to learn out more and get in contact with me. Alright, thanks so much. Bye.